Sabakaya, and Chebia, and a bebo mania. Sabrante bako, and as a papa bako, I arrest no, and then a car Kofi boots, and a Pascal of Park Academy home. And the Derek Van Yeboah. We pleaded guilty to one of the counts, one indictment in the Emu. Emma Wajatum, so better a restitution of $10 million. Requi, your sentence van to 85 months in prison. We are calculation a baby 7 years and a sentence. We waiving the rights to an appeal. And I was also a jatum, so be under 2 years supervised release. And not yet, and yet because on your citizen of the United States of America. But again, and they call the sentence emo. I have Gossip 24. Mesro, so be me a subscribe button so now I click the bell notification icon. You go to the story. Right. Like I said earlier, Derek Van Yeboah a part of enipa miensa FBI for be extradite omudio mu free Ghana ha say ekwen so beka Inus Ahmed aka Pascal of Park Academy Kofi Boats and so eka Isaac Oduo Boateng Kofi Boats eka on and after so Derek Van Yeboah nakasa and about papa akọ aka on the no akewura FBI for enyam monsa ensumana sa monsa enya kan ba sanipa miensin and FBI for ediom kokopie mu US memo no modi omukọ no omu charge Derek Van Yeboah no with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, fraud by wire, money laundering, conspiracy to receive stolen money, and after receipt of stolen goods. Where any charges on the board Derek Van Yeboah. And Derek Van Yeboah nakasa ebiena no eka say o pleaded guilty. Na guilty no o pleaded to one count conspiracy to commit wire fraud and no pleaded guilty to Emma USA for Edemana. Emma this also to mu say obe forfeit $10 million in restitution. Emma mo de board say Yankopon ya adoma July busumi mu and omo de sentencing ebema no. Sentencing number so last week. But justice delayed is not justice denied. It's require and a sentencing no ebai. Now before us a sentencing ebema no. Na nipa binomo actual letters, right? In the case of Derek Van Yeboah no, I followed a lot of cases, but in the case of Derek Van Yeboah there were over 50 letters and from the wife, and they call the mom, and they call the cousins, and they call Nkrofa, Utsum school fees, the mama, and they call one lady and the busiamu, ne papaya blind near dear or in actual letters, even including on Henia or sample value or wager, or in actual letters. And if you're watching this video, this is tell you say indeed I've read all the letters, right? Or in actual letters. Well, 50 letters. I'm a probation officer, so sure letter. Actually, say Derek Van Yeboah since Oba prison or no or that's what Papa D will go through the course where any certificates near there or facility no more holding the one or any other. So all these letters, are there and the lawyers no piling it up. And I'm not sure my final address. More day my judge and say judge who Derek Van Yeboah. Because Derek Van Yeboah often humble beginning. None papa a scrap dealer and a name so a ton idea or local market. Even at a point in time, no was I never pardon my movie quotes on my grandpa fee. Derek Van Yeboah often Pentecost a bussy and Pentecostal home now free. Or I say, Yadina Misso and I say no Derek Van Yeboah Nankasa, it's a key after never panic trade now, no Osano no tongue. Scraps no ebi from a humble beginning. Or ya bonia tia bet siano no and yasem ketwa. And all the year, Babe do baby, our baby companies, Van Scope, real estate, any idea or worry or on any year or Mabaku enum. I need the cacao na some case ya be. I'm a Derek Van Yeboah hearing in mano, almost struggle. I might say affecting Kolanimpo. Na Derek Van Yeboah, on your violent person. Why say Nkofo crack can was and power letters now, or Monsieur Van Yeboah, Emma area or Mutimo. Obedri kwan so gata wo hoye drainage system ama yusuta year mo Van Yeboah mo ti omo school fees mo aboa community no street lights in the kaka we natural letters e dey support lawyer Nsemo kan and lawyer Nsemo ka che subiombo say Derek Van Yeboah ono ankasa na plead guilty we plead guilty charges am the board no so empower gene form so atum do hwa when ya nu ho wasacha na adwen na wo hwe letter cray free prison one more omode na akotwe Emma can answer me. By out Musa, what does my papa di? Our prison, or Monsieur hard working or thinking outside the box near the a good man. And my mom man is sentence Casabiasa. And for some, I know Casay Eddie. Elevate hot watch for Eddie device be a big just now. So for social media, Bibiano, no be a kind of check sugar level and I should now, dear no sugar level. Now, was spiking it, we say cholesterol. elevate hot watch for device or media bay. Morocco, South Africa, a hot deal inside device in then finally Ghana had here. A fancy FDA and standards authority for no adjatuma elevate hot watch say so we fear or school or hospital or clinic B more office B any of them bet me 6-in-1 device CBS 6-in-1 because ubet me they check your blood sugar, ubet me they check your cholesterol, ubet me they check your hemoglobin, ubet me they check your uric acid, and the eka can win now back 6 and I'll bet me I check with this particular device elevate for their baby. So the numbers in that screen is no so pay for numbers here free and answer WhatsApp your more on deliver at the mono be and share no more their bro elbia. And even the Derek Van your boy pleaded guilty to no. And that's go for Derek Van your boy no more deem common no more vulnerable people sir and go for more 60s 70s near the of course age no now vulnerable limits the classifies will be a vulnerable in such cases US no and say be any panel ni age not 70 or bro 80 so kwanya de any panel ya diagnosing of medically say be or dementia na say or syndrome B any panel onye capable ni yemu no or to see one ni yemu na adwemu ni de kaka on na betimi aka so ye vulnerable what I say but then if I am for no mudi nkomo nyina mo ka so mo ye victims. There's nothing that what I say they were vulnerable people who take advantage of them. But regardless, no, we pleaded guilty to. Instead of we pleaded guilty. Mo mo na mo find the money and channel. Na be a kwata some money be crana. Mo money be 60 months. 60 months dear. Mo the money 60 months no would have translated into 5 years in prison. Now there by a boy was so jail to mukra so be tua and as be forfeit $10.1 million US. Mo pay win am pay judge. Who Derek Viable Mobo, no man a lesser sentence, 60 months dear, a fair. It's way, and the Derek Viable lawyers, actually, at the judge. But then why did the judge give Derek Viable 7 solid years, a year equivalent to 85 months? It is because of letter, US Justice Department, actually, the judge. And let me walk you through the letter. Perhaps you would understand things better and know the entire. Judge no am murdering Vanyebo 5 years no and I say a lesser sentence no any US Justice Department no say hey omo follow sa romance scam ni business email compromising for a while and this is where it will interest you as a Ghanaian to know say the FBI they know what they are about right almost say almost the day who say there are levels in the game no game no and yes I would see obiya nipa na ye Fort Boy no game no ye wa chairman wo ho ana ye wa SAKAWA boy wo ho ana ye wa middleman wo ho ana ye wa abochi e wo ho no manasa aboki wo ho inti sa 4 levels we chairman no ye nipa na o sit at the top of the whole conspiracy scheme ono chairman no te romance scheme no da ano ono che say we enchate we fa sika nko ha we nye say we nye sika we percentage say ono ye chairman no and na SAKAWA boys no and ye omo te computer nechi e chat client no enwo mo format no omo and omo ye SAKAWA boys omo no mo behind the keyboard it we chairman fi wa SAKAWA boy na NX and na middleman no mostly no mo ni Ghana mostly na they no mo US omo no mo create bank accounts e mo di gisika edito mu ene ade na abokifo no na omo ba gisika no e de ba Ghana inti ono de ebia no de sika na etoka no de aba Ghana ebia no de sika na to chain no de aba Ghana ebia no de sika na to watch de aba Ghana omo na omo ya abokifo no omo no movie sika no. It's this how our FBI for a break it down fraud in the romance scam the business email compromise no omo break it down the chain no the full chain men kan say what's our scheme we mo say there are 4 levels. I was scheme way into obi omuchini biya no omunim level I nipa ni belong to. And in the case of Derek Van Yeboah onye chairman onye SAKAWA boy. In the case of Derek Van Yeboah onye chairman onye SAKAWA boy. So it means say in Derek Van Yeboah's circle no there is a chairman wo ho. But Derek Van Yeboah there onye SAKAWA boy a chese ono no or FBI 4 times musa no mama no ono no chat clients no. And they are going to prove it. In proving it, no, FBI for HM say, Derek Van Yeboah, right? Why you may ya say, how much say victims are or more FBI for which me are pointed to. say omo messages any idea I just say we a victim 10 victims but enkrofo omo to me bar forward ma evidence ma witness statements no e nipa akọ 4 and from the omo FBI for study ni che say there even yebo aye adwuma yi for almost 9 years or shall say in the year 2015 but enipa 4 no adansi di omo di aba ni che say from 2017 to 2020 there Derek Van Yeboah agency nipa 4 ni mu enipa miensa ho sika. It's out of the 4 victims omo ba forward no. Right? Once 10 victims omo FBI for say Derek Van Yeboah directly involved with, right? And out of the 10 victims of 4 na ba forward. Out of the 4 na e ba forward no. E mo nipa miensa actually from 2017 to 2020 Derek Van Yeboah agency omo ho sika. Ama to say investigators at FBI for ye ina no. Omo ni say Derek Van Yeboah de. Bebe $10 million there. Edwuma yode ni ho shemu yi. Wama nkofo lose ska bebe $10 million. And wama nkofo lose through sa fraud scheme Derek Van Yeboah ye. But omo ni say Derek Van Yeboah no. Wa so dey create companies. Our Ghana and I yani so real estate. Vanscope real estate no mo ye donation aya ne say oni nkofo partner e business mu and the Vanscope foods Vanscope way no mo ye esu ni na money laundering na there by boy ye Ghana has in say no man na ye sika onya for move for the past 9 years and all these churches ha no man mu onye dume bia o ye bia e tell no mo FBI for no e break it down and somewhere victims yi aka mo. It's the first victim no. You better the DBR. Sandy pay mama bi ana we 70 years old. Na sa mama bi ana we 70 years old the extra. Ono Derek Van Yeboah agene ho no bebe $1 million. Mama ne the evidence had shown say between 2017 to 2019. October 2017 to March 2019 there. Derek Van Yeboah atwene the bebe $1 million. And then the second victim, mama bi awedi infisia eduosia enum 65 years old woman. No no Ohio. Chem say Derek Van Yeboah introduce ni ho action so your friend Gary Bushmere. No Gary Bushmere no odon ni gene ho ni ade o Derek Van Yeboah didn't come na Derek Van Yeboah catch so omo create business. It omo create 2 companies. Baako GCTW and baako GBW. It was a Gary Bushmere. And a W near mammy no needing JW no and a trust no good and at somebody creative businesses way. Now some business will create no. Sika Derek Van Yeboah Jeffrey no any business no mu create account mu create and sika afemu no. FBI for chapam investigations no from November 2017 to 1st of August 2020. Sika be $2.3 million and half as account anymore. Third victim no mama bi say ono so 60 years ono fi Delaware and o tell me say Derek Van Yeboah ehia no our time up so na Derek Van Yeboah introduce ni won say the din at the Greg White ono sa maami so chia say na Derek Van Yeboah ne maami JW creative business JCTW and GBW no sa no maami a ye friend MSC of Delaware ono so Derek Van Yeboah and no creative company MSJW. Eti MS ni maame no ni initials no and JW no Derek Van Yeboah edin o use here our time app ne so Greg White no initials no and on maame we creative company no. Omo creative company no sika Derek Van Yeboah agye for no maame ne ho and sika afa sa company no account mu from July 2020 to November 2020 no bebe $1.9 million. Ni na akọ Derek Van Yeboah ho. The fourth victim no papa bi friend RB. Papa RB is 68 years old. No. Of North Carolina. Ocha Derek Van Yeboah introducing ho. So ni din Lisa Olsen. No Lisa Olsen ne kra no ne papa ewu ma chese nya asem ketwa ene ade na ohia moa kakra ene de kaka ho but ono papa no Lisa Olsen story ni din and it's antene no. Later na Lisa Olsen yaba be catch on papa ni say your friend is saying diamonds be any gold be I store Italy na ka pese oboa me na me to me here. Why I say now the first one no about funeral expenses no And then Lisa no pay $50,000. On the papa na fa Lisa. But the second one ne Nisika bebe $123,000 and Alisa man ne kwaje ebosia. One for one nisika or kwaje ebosia ma Alisa no $123,000. Say Lisa afa nkonko yi gold no any diamond na was store Italy no. Sana e kwa Derek Van Yeboah. Now this is where it gets interesting, right? San komo ne papa we di ye. FBI for arresting Derek Van Yeboah no. Almost seize Derek Van Yeboah phone this no. Yes, between 13th of October 2024 and 24th of October in the year 2024, no, now Derek Van Yeboah and Papa RB are exchanging by 470 text messages. 470 text messages. Our mobile phone now. Jeffrey Derek Van Yeboah and now more arrested. No. Now it's a Derek Van Yeboah hiding behind the identity. We're creating online as Lisa Olsen and the Papa RB Attribution from 13th of October to 24th of October 2024 no 470 messages and FBI for who ye was chatting and more Derek Van Yeboah. No more say Derek Van Yeboah lawyers true say na Derek Van Yeboah no or a businessman or Ghana or real estate in there. Onwa. Only a dume bia. Derek Van Yeboah mate say more cash or better institution of $10 million no. Also will feel valued at $500,000. Or also a jewelry, baby $200,000, $300,000 bi ho. Or also multiple luxury vehicles. Ni na onya fi krono die ni mu. Ni na onya fi for nepo. Cars na Derek Van Yeboah say owono. Right? Mercedes Benz are owono. So one van so we Mercedes Benz beer. Every US a stolen car US one. Lexus I be amu say Derek Van Yeboah time all Ghana no chairman na otwi no. Almost say SAKAWA. Na otwi no. And also na stolen car from Canada. Enti Derek Van Yeboah no integrity ben. And na ompese judge ni gina so de ehu ne mobo. Ohu ne mobo nya yi. Onipa no otwi stolen cars. Nisika osi wenya jewelry award die on one in from Ford proceeds. The company also war Van Scope Estate and at the end no from Ford proceeds. Account no Van Scope Estate in the account in no Ford CKE and the famu ebe tosa account in. Inti legit business at Derek Van Yeboah no ewo. Again, e ma mo kokọ arrest Derek Van Yeboah no kra no. Na owo tuo ewo ne ho perhaps license gun and I just say FBI for a win. It is a Derek Van Yeboah no eka so onye violent person oye ni papa and omu ni mobo any idea omu ni mobo enye ye. Now, Omo who said Derek Van Yeboah lawyer sure on the case of vulnerability. One of the factors original so edema obi sentence no. Say minkofo no mo right thinking individuals no more pa 80 years ho beka say bi omo vulnerable na de eka kan. Some of them were emotionally vulnerable. One of them, mami, just saw no third victim, and the MSU free Delaware. On the Derek Van Yeboah creative company MSJW. Derek Van Yeboah treated the $1.9 million US. Some mami say, oye kuneni ba. The time Derek Van Yeboah shia no. Na say mami ni kune wu fresh. Why vulnerable emotionally, psychologically, or your companion. Why ready so be moving on. It is that time ni mu na Derek Van Yeboah this shia no. It's not mami ni feel say we nya odo. So the woman was emotionally vulnerable. And Derek Van Yeboah nim say mami no. Through nkomodie ni kune wu it no take advantage. We take advantage. Ebe so your friend Greg White ni ade odi twi mami no edie. Derek Van Yeboah capitalize on mami ni loneliness. Now again, said Derek Van Yeboah lawyers person mo chair judge they said Derek Van Yeboah ni papa he Ghana ban cry actual letter. Ghana ban actual letter di aba. Say fraud for we no. Omo sabotage Ghana your national economic aspirations. Almost sabotage national economic aspirations because almost go through such sophisticated fraudulent activities when the money laundering scheme where a go Ghana buying any mass. I make also FBI for document. Almost a GFIC. Ghana, your Financial Intelligence Center for actual letter crowd, the ama FBI for say, or say, as the GFIC states, while individual victims have suffered direct and huge losses, the unseen victim of this sophisticated fraud and money laundering scheme is the integrity of our financial system, institutional credibility, and international standing of the nation. This reputational damage is not easily repaired, as it takes time to undo the perception of the country being branded a safe environment for illicit flows. Legitimate global investors become hesitant to commit capital when the local financial ecosystem is perceived as compromised, leading to reassessment of risk exposure, delay in commitment, and possible diversion of investment to other jurisdictions. As a result, the GFIC notes that the offender has effectively stolen growth opportunities from the youth and legitimate workforce of the country. It's about Ghana Financial Intelligence Center class. Masa, sa for we almost say Ghana D. Mochi omo mo fa nyamo. Omo manaye say investors crab almost see Ghana for there. Ghana for there. Ghana for there. Say Ghana by D. Mo fa nyamo, mo fa mo go. It's Ghana by ne kra no. Ghana by ne kra no. Eji tu mu say sankofo wo mu ye dipa bone fo nti e ba ne say na lawyer wo gina mu van. E wo USA. O ba be ka say na van no ye dipa papa. Enyi papa. Forget it papa. And again, U.S. Justice Department, I cancel twice. Say, hey, when did it be? Almost me identify, baby, 200 victims, approximately 200 victims. Now, so pay attention to class now. My main mental hasi. Because say FBI for, and I say Justice Department, I can say the entire fraud and I say romance scheme, in how many layers? And I say food chain, layers do not send home. 4, correct. Why not that top? Chairman, correct. So, it can be said from all the 4 layers, Ombenya, number of victims, right? Great. And another Van Yabuano, the position our layers now, FBI for born me a day. SAKAWA boy, good. I will share there. Good. Now, share there. Justice Department, mo final letter mo trauma judge, say ne be convince judge now ma van a harsh sentence. Omo catch a judge and say, hey, Omo identify by approximately 200 victims. Some victims we ebi another Van Yeboah, and yet directly involved with the victims. But scheme na Derek Van Yeboah a part of no. And Kofi wa Derek Van Yeboah link it to. Some Kofi no. Omo victims baby 200. So the possibility that Derek Van Yeboah and Kofi we might so we 200 victims no high. Though more established as a direct, Derek Van Yeboah and this Kofi 200 na chat here no. Now on this any payer omo victims here 200 our connection any payer why mo Fred Asante and Calvin Freeman. Obekaya me a story be the AI pictures share say nipa bakwa for be Fred Asante na then there okay good we are sharp who follow one kind link in that comment section. Fred Asante and our face Calvin Freeman omo victims a baby 200 and a Derek Van Yeboah connected to Fred Asante and Calvin Freeman. Or you're connected to them. And America, see, almost say, finally, the government has identified at least approximately 200 other victims in the cases of just 2 of Van's co-conspirators, Fred Asante and Calvin Freeman. While the government has no evidence that Van was directly involved in scamming these specific victims, he was connected to both defendants in the fraud scheme. As such, the government includes victim impact statements from the sentencing of both Asante and Freeman to impact Fred Van Yeboah on certain victims. And to show how as a scheme we take advantage of vulnerable people Omo the victim impact statement of Fred Asante and Calvin Freeman. Judge say judge and how Kofi will take advantage of vulnerable people. Now in Fred Asante and Calvin Freeman case and a Derek Van Yeboah DPM or What in common I say? Now, so more can answer, right? Fred Asante, enya 9 years. Calvin Freeman, enya 6 years and 5 months. And that's make us 6.5 years. It's a band saying, Enna, Sir Fred, enya 9 years. Now Calvin Freeman, enya 6.5 years. Oba Beka, at the actual judge, no, as a lawyer for Derek Van, your Boba Beka judge, and said, Judge, no, my clients, no, saying 5 years. NC. Because FBI for and as a US Justice Department, no, almost skill. And I'm going to make you understand the skill, right? This is the skill. In the Fred Asante Calvin Freeman issue, right? There was one woman called Deborah Mensah, honestly a part of this whole thing. Okay, now Deborah Mensah, Omoka say scheme no yet part of no. Abo Nkrofoka any a victim impact no losses no abo Nkrofoka bear 3.5 million US dollars but account Deborah a control ne die omo says ka bear 1.5 million US dollars and a call Deborah honomo it's Deborah a range of 1.5 million US dollars to 3.5 million US dollars and more prosecute Deborah no states no a propose say abai ma Deborah 7 years abai no Emma Deborah 5.5 years for just 1.5 million US dollars to 3.5 million US dollars. State no sentence Deborah to 5.5 years. Calvin Freeman. And so Sikano similar to Deborah no. State no play say judge no Emma Calvin Freeman 7 years. Judge no Emma Calvin Freeman 6.5 years. Fred Asante Edie. Sika e fa ne nsase bedi ni hono me bebe 3.5 million US dollars. But a car or my victims boy, you know, 9.5 million US dollars. Fred Asante states no a plead for 10 years. Abai no Emma no 9 solid years. And no more Fred Asante. In the case of Derek Van Yebwan, Amoni said a car one my victims na born a 10 million US dollars. It is I nipa me say am be born with we and Derek Van Yeboah. Why na wo so say or what Derek Van Yeboah level and I said Derek Van Yeboah e won the level. And Fred Asante rightly so FBI for and as a Department of Justice e wo mo written address to the judge before sentencing no. Omo try say in addition to his loss amount also in addition his loss amount substantially exceeds the loss amount attributed to almost all of the other defendants. Accordingly, the government views Van Yeboah as far more culpable than Deborah Mensah, as far more culpable than Ademu, Rufai, and Calvin Freeman, and as marginally more culpable, or at least equivalently culpable as Asante. The assessment Derek Van Yeboah and 1 year Department of Justice for Nebufu and they say, almost say Derek Van Yeboah no, right? Out of Fred Asante, Calvin Freeman, Deborah Mensah, Rufai, Adamu, Moni Adiano, Derek Van Yeboah, they personally on and on chatting Crawford, so he was directly involved with the victims. But the other people no more movie sika, ne ebimo aye chairman, ebimo aye your friend is saying middleman, ebimo aye aboki. But for Derek Van Yeboah, he was a SAKAWA boy chatting them. I say, as described above, Van Yeboah is differently situated than these defendants in that he was personally involved in defrauding victims through romance scams, while the other victims they don't have direct contact with their victims, but rather only received fraudulent proceeds into their account. Instead, other people almost receive proceeds into their account, and they be almost directly how our fans in the movie. Adenti. And now, say you're not directly involved with all scamming Crawford or chatting or scam your man in lesser sentence than in Crawford or Moody or receive is get to my account. How? Woman in lesser sentence in ye. The Department of Justice for Ekai say, Derek Van Yeboah First of all, the loss amount, a bro, or bobo so yira so. It is more money sentence be dear. Or more man obey 97 to 121 months, 8 years to 10 years here, or more for man. Because the loss amount, between 9.5 billion US dollars and 25 million US dollars based on scheme now you're part of Fred Asante money at this scheme more money is arranged. It's man anything less than a and again no crown. Say that Derek Van Yeboah lawyer can say that Derek Van Yeboah enu ne ho any adie no. Derek Van Yeboah or engaging in fraudulent activity for 9 solid years. Every single day he woke up and got involved in fraud. And yet isolated conduct. And you say that could be and all year involved in and in the past I catch up with him. It was something that he woke up for 9 solid years until even 24th of October 2024 he was still texting people as Lisa Olsen for 9 solid years. And you say baby or yes or targeting vulnerable victims day after day for years. And then make a for the community. Van Yeboah's conduct was more, Van Yeboah's conduct was far from an aberration. Van Yeboah engaged in the fraud scheme for 9 solid years. It wasn't isolated conduct. It wasn't a blip. It was what he did for approximately quarter of his life. Indeed, it appears to be the only real job Van Yeboah has ever had. Day after day for years, he targeted vulnerable victims, lied to them, and stole from them. And while Van Yeboah likely did not keep majority of more than 10 million US dollars, he helped to steal. His financial gain from his romance scams was very, very substantial. This was his job. It was lucrative enough for him to own an expensive house, expensive jewelry, and several expensive cars, which some of them are stolen cars. Into Van Yeboah. So, Omoma no anything less because in Nippon only what he penny Fred Asante. Fred Asante got 108 months in prison. I translated to 9 solid years. Omoma Van Yeboah anything less, sir. Because Fred Asante no sika ban account near 6.7 million US dollars. But Van Yeboah no a greater amount. And a ban account. And a ban account. Again, Omoka say oh let us know. Let us move some chow. The Department of Justice for say Omo say let us say so Van Yeboah no olive man for or boa strangers or boa money adie. I was so more kind who say Van Yeboah the generosity no na a from fraud proceeds. Our real free innocent victims ho and no bagan and no babaye and na you generous and na charity and na papa we dey hear me here and na every for the come say Van Yeboah attached a number of letters on his behalf that he describes as showing that Mr. Van Yeboah quietly used his resources to lift others, often strangers, and never for once ask for recognition of payment. Van Yeboah may have been financially generous within his family and his community, but the money he was giving away was from fraud proceeds that he stole from innocent victims, and Van Yeboah appears to have lived a lavish lifestyle in Ghana even after his financial contribution. That's the fact that Van Yeboah shared stolen money with others is no reason to impose a lenient sentence. The fact that Van Yeboah is generous any adiano and just what deserve a lenient sentence. Again, Omewu say Van Yeboah say nebusia for hiano any idea. Masa Van Yeboah no omo no and every single day on him so we busia for 9 years. For 9 years of bulk chrono and a criminal conduct for over 9 years. Now man have finding himself in this situation. And you want to be for 9 ne emamo fa ne busu asem na ne mba no na ne yere na mkwala num almost debi emamo fa justify. Again, Van Yeboah no mo say ono an we plead guilty and we say obeti restitution e wo so mo gina so dey hu ne mo bo ha Vanyeboa no on transfer sika bia man the victims say obia o nipa semesi meji 1.9 million US dollars for Sanji usika eno kra de nke betumi ahye so ye remorseful ema obia ndada anya remorseful o because of FBI for enya evidence hardcore evidence against Vanyeboa no enti na waje no info so atum anya so ye remorseful bia just say we regret it so much no FBI for na come say this is the conduct of a man who regrets getting caught, not one who regrets committing the crime. Inti ema judge ni hu ni mobo. Ema judge ni hu ni mobo. Mo ka say na Vanyeboa no, or ye law abide no ko prison or kra no, or ye good chap, and on pen ho asem ni ade enipa no sorry for 9 solid years every single day for the amount for. Onye lo aba. We ye ejuma wire for nearly a decade. Into almost who say probation for recommended 60 months prison term. The more recommended no very simple. Pay 97 to 121 months and no pay. Of course, Osha sentencing guideline now 78 to 97 months. But pay more than that. Vanyeboa lawyers any idea is 60 months and we the more guidelines which say Vanyeboa nya 78 to 97 months but more pay crime point ka judge no enter 97 months and fin 121 months and for more judge net say and now 28th of July 2026 New York na about 2 o'clock on New York na Ghana ha about 6 o'clock Ghana ha and a judge a sentence Vanyeboa to 85 months in prison. It would say in between sentencing guidelines of 78 and 97 months. And a judge, Ejina and Finfi Emma Vanyeboa, 85 months in prison. I translated to 7 years and some months. And also sentencing to 2 years supervised release. Supervised release though. Senka Vanyeboa a US citizen. And cannot dear Kofi prison bar after 7 years and 2 years no or one that probation what the income one tabet 29 any idea but somebody supervised release no unqualified for and see owie ne 7 years sentence no US one ma obeba ebe pimu Ghana ha so me deport am be pimu Ghana dem no all serving the sentence no obetua 10 million US dollars in restitution and for feature into the Japadi bi or any ade no between the ones to so and the kakanwa ni na no ombebo no kopim say ombenya 10 million US dollars if we Derek Vanyeboa honomo no more they compensate victims no any more kakan aha go 64 background